guys, welcome back to my channel. I thought today I would do a bit of my witchy journey video alongside some of my favourite book recommendations and different bits and pieces just to get you guys started in the world of witchcraft, because I know when I started I literally had no idea what I was doing, but I thought it'd only be fair that I help you guys out. So I want to say I was maybe I'm not good with ages, but maybe 12 to 15 when I first really started delving into the world of witchcraft, but I honestly had no idea I was doing it. I think I specifically remember looking for a spell that would turn you into a vampire. And then I came across how to set up your own altar. So when I was a kid I had a little wardrobe. I'll put a little picture of a similar one here, and it had one side had loads of little shelves, and in the bottom shelf I think I created my first altar just from bits and pieces that I could find around the house. So I think some salt, maybe some seashells, and honestly can't remember, just the odd witchy themed item. I didn't have any candles because my dad wouldn't let me have candles in the house in case I burnt it down. Bit extreme, but you know. And then I think I remember going with a friend to my first witchy metaphysical crystal shop, and I was just looking around. Obviously I really didn't know what to get. I kind of just had to mooch around. The lady was like, oh, what are you looking for? Is there anything you want in particular? And I kind of just went, I was like, I don't really know. And I think I remember specifically by the till there was some pendulums hanging from the ceiling, and I was like, oh my gosh, what are those? And she told me they were ways to answer yes or no questions. And I think at the time I had a really big crush on someone, and I was like, oh my god, this can tell me whether I'm actually ever going to date this person. But buying one of those pendulums, I think it was maybe a Untitled one, and oh my gosh, I used it for everything. At the time I didn't really know it was witchcraft. I just thought it was some cool little crystal thing that helped me answer questions. I think there was questions would have been, would I ever date this crush I had? In the future it said yes, and I did later on, way on. Then what else was there? Maybe I think I just asked generic questions that you would as a teenager. Am I going to be pretty? Am I going to be popular one day? And just different bits like that. And then I also created these little manifestation notes that I didn't really understand what they were at the time, and that they were manifestation notes. So I think it was just a little post-it note. I would write what I wanted to gain from my life on this piece of paper, and then I just stick it on my window at night. And I must have done it for about a year, sticking these little pieces of paper on my window each night, hoping to manifest my dreams. Some of them maybe came true, others I think it was a little bit of a push, so they haven't done. Who knows, they might still. And then that's about it, to be honest. I think maybe a couple of years after that, so maybe 16 to 18, I didn't really do anything. And then I got to uni, and I think it was maybe second year I looked more into witchcraft, and it wasn't until I actually created my Mystic Primrose Instagram account that I actually started looking into it. I created that account purely just so that I could collect loads of different witchy style photos, and I could just screenshot them and then put them on there. It's kind of my own little personal album. Never did I think it must have been the second post I created, it'd get 100 and something likes, and I was like, oh my gosh, what is this? And then I think at the weekend I then went to, I looked online for a metaphysical shop, and the closest one was in Nottingham. I was at Lincoln Uni at the time, I think, so my partner at the time, we went to this metaphysical shop, and I think I bought, what did I buy? I'll actually insert a photo of my very first like witchy post now here. So I got my mini little cauldron, I got a wand, it has some symbol on, it had the pentagram symbol on and a ogre symbol, I think that's how you pronounce it. I haven't really looked into those sorts of symbols yet, so I'll get back to you on that one before I start pretending to know what I'm talking about with that. And then I also got a Scott Cunningham Solitary Practitioner's Guide to Wicca, I think. I'll put that in a link below. It is currently in my Amazon storefront, so feel free to check that out if you want to go for it. That was genuinely the best book a beginner could ever get, because let me get this book. This was my very first book. It is a little bit dog-eared. It cost me £14.95, and honestly, it covers everything. It explained everything to me. I finally figured out, like, when I was a kid, that what I was doing with creating the altar, and maybe not the vampire spell, but like with the dowsing crystal, it was very much practicing witchcraft, and I had no idea at the time. So this book really, really did help me out. So recommend this one. And then I think the first proper spell I ever created was a friendship spell. I think at the time I'd fallen out with my flatmate. I can't remember what it was over, something stupid. And I was like, okay, this is really bothering me. What can I do to help, like, mend our friendship? So I think I created some little friendship spell. I can't remember exactly what it was. It might have been a pink candle, maybe some rose quartz and something else, I can't remember. And I was like, can you help me out, as in like give me some sort of sign or something to help mend our friendship? And I was like, and then I did it and everything, and then the next day she had left her necklace somewhere, and I was like, oh gosh, this is my opportunity. So I grabbed like her necklace and was like, hey, I found this, can we like be friends again? And it was all sorted after that. So I'd say that was my first spell. Can't remember how many other ones I've done since, and I'd say that's about it. And then I got into continuing with my Instagram, my witchcraft Instagram, and that started gaining more of a following, and this is the point where it was just like witchy photos. I don't think many people did witchy photos at this point, and apart from Harmony Nice, I want to say, she was a really big inspiration of mine, and I think I saw her at Lincoln Uni once and I was like, oh my god, but I didn't go up to her, I was too nervous to say hey. So I just continued dabbling with my Instagram, and then for a bit I went through a bit of a breakup, so I kind of like stopped there with my Instagram, and then I've been on and off. I think I was on and off with it for a bit at the same time as practicing witchcraft, and then it wasn't really up until the last few years that I've gone ham on my Instagram and it's blown up, whereas before I was just practicing witchcraft and not really doing any of my Instagram at the same time. So now they're very much in parallel with one another. I practice a spell, and if it works for me, I post it for you guys on my Instagram or YouTube or TikTok or anything, so that you guys can then use it. So I want to say I'm going to go with my top tips for witchy beginners, for people beginning in witchcraft, is first off, do your research. Make a list of things that you want to learn about and what interests you, and go from there. Don't try doing everything all in one go, because that's not going to happen, or you'll end up learning a lot about a little, if that makes sense. And second of all, you don't need items for witchcraft, and in theory you just need yourself, but I would probably go with getting a crystal first maybe and working with that. So it could be something like amethyst or some sort of like rose quartz or something, just because they're quite gentle crystals and they're easy to work with and they're great for absolutely everything. My next tip, I would say practice, if you're going to do like any spells and stuff, I would go simple first. So maybe just get in like a little tea light and writing down your manifestation and just work on little bits like that, not trying to do some big huge spell all in one go. That takes a lot of effort and feels like it's completely drained you of energy sometimes. So I'd generally just get a tiny little tea light, write down your manifestation, or even a bay leaf, write on that, and then burn it with your tea light, or you could pour cinnamon and stuff in your morning coffee, as that's also magic because it brings in abundance, but make sure you're stirring clockwise to bring your manifestation in instead of anti-clockwise, which kind of like removes it. And I'll go on to my next book recommendations, as I know you guys have been asking forever about my favourite books, so bear with me. Okay, I have my books. I went running around the house trying to find them because I didn't think to make a pile before I sat down for this video, which is great. So, first one is this little crystal Bible. There's 3 in the series, and I found these at a charity shop. I found the third one and the first one. No, I found the third one and the second one. I don't have the first one. I feel like I should probably get it because I feel like that's where all the proper like mainstream crystals are, if there's any such thing as mainstream crystals, so like rose quartz and amethyst. It's basically just an encyclopedia kind of or fact files of all the different types of crystals that you could possibly get. I do like these books just for like references, but I sometimes find it easier to just go and Google it rather than going through here looking for the answer. So these are good if you want to get to know your crystals, as they pretty much have everything in, all of them in, but you kind of need to get all 3 in order to have access to the like mainstream crystals, as there's like 1 mainstream crystal in each one. So it's up to you. And then next I have it's a bit dogged, a book on the history of witchcraft. So I think I got halfway through with this one. I'm not a big reader, I'll be honest. I normally prefer watching YouTube videos and going online and researching it that way instead of actually having physical books. But this one is really good in the fact that it talks about witchcraft trials, and of course it's got some little pictures, which I think is awesome. And it just talks about the whole history of it in general. Then my next one is obviously this one I spoke about, Wicca by Scott Cunningham, and it is a really good book to start off with. So get this one if you can get any. But I'll show you the other ones, just in case you want to get this one and some more. Next is this one. It's a Witch's Bible, The Complete Witch's Handbook by Janet and Stuart Farr. Is that how you pronounce it? Maybe? And it is one thick boy. Like, it's got absolutely everything in you could imagine. Like, I'd say this one is very much a simpler, easier to read and understand book, as it has illustrations and it has all the basics that you need, whereas this one goes into depth and there's hardly any pictures in it. I mean, there's a couple, but it is one thick read. I think I use these when I'm looking for, I don't necessarily use it to sit down and read in one go. I kind of just like use it as like a reference guide, so if I want to figure something out or learn about something, I just go to the glossary and learn it that way. So that's that one. I do think it's a really good book. It was £15, which was also not that bad. I think I might have paid more than that actually, I don't know why, but I did. That's that one. And then just a couple more of, I don't have many books, I'll be honest, I have a few, but I tend to just do my research online unless I specifically go out looking for a book that I've had my mind set on about getting. For example, this one is House of Magic, and it's just a really nice aesthetic book that has like a couple of different recipes in. It has some like different bits and bobs about crystals. Let me read you a little blurb. Essentially, it's talking about how you can transform your home into a witchy, magical scenario, witchy magical place, and it has like different tips on like creating a money bowl, different crystals that can use be for comfort. I'm just going through the book for you now because I can't remember what's in it. It has stuff about pets and familiars. I think it's a really good coffee table book, and I think it'd be a perfect addition if you were to make your house or your home slightly more witchy, and having this on your coffee table for someone to come along and have a look through. I think it's great. That's why I bought it, and it's a pretty good book. I wouldn't say you could learn an awful lot about witchcraft in this. I'd probably go with one of the other two, but it is a good one. And lastly, I'm pretty sure you've all seen this one. It's got, I don't know whether that's coffee or a burn mark or something on the book. Everyone's probably seen it on my Instagram. I use it for pretty much all my photos. I think it's a really, really good book when it comes to looking for herbs and their different correspondences. So you have, let me find it. Like, this isn't herbs, but it's essential oils. It has a essential oils kind of like reference guide on like what each one means and represents. Same with herbs. And it has a couple of different like spells and magical tea recipes, and it's got a bit of everything in. This is more targeted towards like herbs and teas, and which are herbs, and more like kitchen witchery kind of. So on the back it says, a modern day treasure chest filled with holistic Wiccan magic and healing lore. For cleansing spells to the spiritual use of herbs, Good Witch's Guide is a fresh, comprehensive collection that covers everything from herbal brews, potions, aromatherapy spells, to healing teas, decorations, recipes and more. Just some of what you'll find is inside. So that's that one. I do think it's a really good book, but then again, I've still got to go with these two being my absolute ride or dies. I want to say that's pretty much it. Apart from telling you my little witchy journey, going through some of my favourite books and some tips on people who are starting to practice witchcraft or Wicca. If you want to know the difference between the two, people can practice witchcraft and they don't necessarily have to be Wiccan, but most Wiccans do practice witchcraft. Now, I feel like today's just been a very much sit down, press film, me talk at you for a while, and that's about it. I do have some amazing videos coming up that I know you guys are going to love, so please feel free to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of them, and if not, I hope you have really good days.